Thank you so much for joining us, as per usual, to our listening and viewing audience who have joined us via radio, television, social and online media. Thank you for tuning in as we, as government, continue to inform you of developments across all of government. This morning, I have with me the Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, Disaster Management and Information, Senator the Honorable Simon Steele. And he will be bringing us up to date on many developments in the climate change space. It's a very active period. And without any further ado, Simon, I'll have you take the floor.
Thank you very much, Philomena, and a good morning, very good morning, this very wet and grey morning here in Grenada, to our viewing and listening audience. Well, I would actually start with just an update on the arrival of the Comfort hospital ship to our shores, and then I'll get into some of the activities that have been taking place within the ministry. So starting with the arrival of the U.S. medical ship, the Comfort. This is an opportunity for all Grenadians, Carriacouans, Petit Martinicans to take full advantage of the world-class medical facilities that are being offered to us over this 5-day period. The capabilities of this ship are incredible. Also, the size and the scale of the facilities offered. Some of us had an opportunity to visit the ship hosted by the U.S. ambassador on Sunday, and it is quite an amazing sight. With over 1,000 beds, it is the 6th largest hospital, whether land or sea, in the world. So the scale of this thing is really, really quite incredible. And we all know, despite the best efforts of government to provide the best level of health care possible to our citizens, we know the demands and the needs of our people outstrips what we are able to effectively provide, which is why it's so important that we all take advantage of these medical services. And those services being rolled out from, well, I believe from Sunday, actually, a number of surgical procedures actually took place on Sunday, but as I said, rolling out to Friday of this week. And this vessel, this mission, is a symbol, a very important symbol of the further strengthening of the relationship between the United States of America, Grenada, and beyond Grenada, but to the region itself. This vessel will be visiting a number of islands on this mission. And we all know that the US has been a very good friend to the region, to Grenada. We all remember especially at this time, the incredible support we received from the US in the aftermath of Hurricane Ivan. And as I said, this goes toward demonstrating that warm relationship. This mission also comes at a time where we need to scale up our public health care education process. The increasing incidences of non-communicable diseases is placing a significant burden not just on our healthcare system, but as a nation as a whole. Therefore, drawing attention to what we need to be doing, not just in terms of primary care or receiving treatment for conditions that we may have, preventable conditions, but also in educating ourselves in the importance of prevention, whether that is our diet, whether that's exercise, all the lifestyle changes that we need to make in order to ensure that as individuals we are as healthy as possible, and as a nation we are as healthy and as productive as possible. So I call upon all of us who have a need to receive medical treatment to take advantage. And the areas that are covered are very, very, very broad, whether it is cataract removal, and that is proving over these last couple of days to be the most demanded of medical treatments, whether it's general surgery, trauma, and the removal of lumps and bumps, whether it's genitourinary surgery, whether it's plastic surgery, ultrasounds, women's healthcare, hernia repair, dental treatment, keloid removal. The list is very, very comprehensive. So, as I said, please take full advantage. There are 2 medical centers that have been established, one at the National Stadium, the other at the Trade Center. And persons are being seen between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. throughout the course of the week. With the weather that we've been having today and some of the flooding that has been experienced in the 2 areas, there may be the possibility today of that service being cut a little short, but we expect that full hourly range from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to continue from tomorrow. So please take advantage of this world-class service that's being offered. So now moving on to climate resilience. We updated Cabinet on a number of major international engagements that have either just taken place or are about to take place. And the first of those was Grenada's attendance at the Green Climate Fund's Global Programming Conference in Songdo in the Republic of Korea that took place 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Green Climate Fund is the largest climate financing agency out there. And Grenada has been a significant beneficiary of green climate resources. In terms of projects that have been approved, and I'll go into those in a little bit, Grenada currently has approved projects in the value of 184 million EC dollars. Significant resources are being provided to Grenada by the Green Climate Fund. And as we know, one of the key mandates of establishing this new Ministry of Climate Resilience is resource mobilization, being able to access as much of the climate financing and technical support that is available for us to build greater resilience and address the challenges of climate change. So at this conference, there were over 600 stakeholders from both developing and developed countries, in addition to international development partners and international financing institutions, so the likes of the World Bank, IDB, IFC, the UN Environmental Program, UN Development Program, GIZ from Germany, JICA from Japan, you name it, they were there. And this was an opportunity for countries such as Grenada to present to this international community our needs, our challenges, but also our plans, our projects, and our programs in climate adaptation and mitigation. But it was also an opportunity for those development partners to demonstrate how they can assist us also. So Grenada had an opportunity to follow up with a number of active projects that we currently have with the Green Climate Fund. So those included the G-Cruise project, which is building extra resilience into our water sector, how we can capture more of the rains that fall, how we can distribute that to water-deprived areas, especially when you consider, notwithstanding the rains that are falling right now, but the extended dry periods and droughts that we're experiencing. So this is a very transformative, very important project in our national development. The value of that project is 125 million EC dollars. And that is provided in terms of grant support from the GCF, but also support from the German government. So we had an opportunity to meet with the GCF, with GIZ, the German Development Agency, or the implementing agency for this project, to get an update on where we are. Contracts between GIZ and the government of Grenada should be concluded by the end of this month. So we should see a launch, and that should be a big event for us as soon as possible, hopefully in the month of October. And we'll start to see boots on the ground by the end of this year. And this project will touch every single community, the length and breadth of Grenada, and provide significant job opportunities for our men and women in terms of the implementation of this project. Another project that was discussed was the Enhanced Direct Access Project. This is a 54 million EC dollar project that is shared between ourselves, Antigua and Dominica. And this project will see resilience building both within our communities and at a public sector level. So again, a very important project. And then discussing readiness support, providing technical support, capacity building within the public sector so that we are able to build the necessary knowledge and experience to address our climate challenges. And so far, we've been able to access support in this area somewhere in the region of 5 million EC dollars. So in total there, we are seeing somewhere in the region of $184 million of approved projects. We also had an opportunity to discuss with the GCF and other partners 2 projects that are currently at the proposal stage. The first is what we call the G-LEAP project. This is an energy efficiency, renewable energy project, which will convert all of our street lights from the energy inefficient sodium light bulbs to energy efficient LEDs. So this will reduce government's public electricity bill significantly, and those monies can be invested in other areas, other productive areas. It would also make all of government's public buildings, some 40 buildings, carbon neutral by installing solar panels on many of our public buildings so that we are able to use renewable energy to supply our public buildings. And again, a very, very innovative program. There is also a private sector component that will provide a financing facility for the private sector so that they can access the necessary financial resources to implement energy efficiency solutions in their businesses. That project is valued at somewhere in the region of 68 million EC dollars. So we're still completing the writing of that project, and that is together with the Caribbean Development Bank and UN Environment, and we hope to have that submitted to the GCF at the earliest possible opportunity. And then we have a flagship project within the ministry. It's still at concept stage, but this is the Climate Resilient Cities project. This is this very ambitious plan to establish St. George's as the first climate smart, climate resilient city within the region. And there are a number of interventions that have been identified. We're working with New York University in the development of the concepts. We've received pre-feasibility support from the GCF to enable us to do this, but it's looking at interventions such as the areas of sea level rise, the vulnerabilities of the Carénage, Grand Anse, Grenville, solutions engineered, both hard engineered and nature-based solutions to protect those valuable areas, whether it is the protection of Maurice Bishop International Airport, our runways at sea level, highly vulnerable, how we can protect that, and how we can work with St. George's University, which contributes in excess of 20% of our GDP, how we can work with them to ensure that the campus is as climate resilient as possible so that it will sustain as little damage in an extreme event and be able to recover as quickly as possible so that economic engine can continue working. We're also looking at urban planning, how we can address some of the vulnerabilities in certain communities that are at risk from climate-related events, looking at our road system, how we can reduce congestion, solutions there. And then the areas of capacity building, strengthening government and the private sector's ability to deal with climate change moving forward. It is here to stay, in addition to identifying other community-based solutions. We also had the opportunity to meet with the new executive director of the Green Climate Fund. It's an opportunity for us to build that relationship, and Grenada has been able to establish a strong relationship with that institution at the highest levels. And one of the discussions that we had with the new executive director, Yannick Glamarek, was the possibility of establishing our Climate Resilient Cities project as one of their flagship projects that can be replicated to all other small island developing states. So not just looking at within the context of Grenada, not just looking at it within the context of the Caribbean, but all small island developing states throughout the world. And this will bring scale, this will bring greater attention from climate investors, from solution providers, in working with us and other small island developing states as we move forward with our plans. A second important international meeting that was held just last week was the launch of the Global Commission on Adaptation's flagship report. That launch took place in Washington, D.C. at the World Bank. Now, Grenada is one of 19 countries that form this commission. Other countries include the United Kingdom, the People's Republic of China, Canada, the Netherlands, Germany. So we're up there with the big boys. And Grenada is there representing not just us as Grenada, but the Caribbean as a whole. And our Prime Minister Mitchell, is one of a handful of commissioners that are actively and have actively influenced this report. Just to explain the level of attention that this has gotten and the importance and significance of this commission is chaired by Bill Gates, by Ban Ki-moon, the former Secretary General of the United Nations, and Kristalina Georgieva, who is the current CEO of the World Bank, and she's tipped to replace Christine Lagarde at the IMF. So these are the three co-chairs, and the Prime Minister is one of a handful of commissioners that's been called upon to provide leadership in developing this groundbreaking report. And this report focuses on the importance of adaptation. It doesn't remove the or dilute the importance of mitigation, but it recognizes that developing countries, especially those who contribute the least to climate change, can affect the mitigation side in a very, very small way. Even if at a global level we're able to contain global warming to below 1.5 degrees Celsius, the current climatic conditions, the current challenges we face with hurricanes, etc., will still remain. And there is no greater illustration of this than the challenges our brothers and sisters are currently facing in the Bahamas after the passing of Hurricane Dorian. And then we all know 2017 was one of the most active, or the most active hurricane season, with the passing of Maria and Irma. So this commission is bringing attention to the need for vulnerable states such as Grenada to adapt, and whether this is the areas of food security, water security, our infrastructure, building resilience in our cities, how to protect our communities, our citizens. It's drawing attention to the importance of that, specific prescriptions, specific action that needs to be taken, and the need for greater financing from the developed countries, from the donors, in terms of supporting our program. So Grenada participated last week at the World Bank in the launch of this. We sat on a panel that was headed by the current acting CEO of the World Bank, other World Bank executives, the president of the World Resource Institute, or the technical resource behind the commission. And there were a number of events that took place at the same, well, during the same, that same period in countries such as China, India, the UK, the Netherlands, the Marshall Islands, all bring in attention. So Grenada played its part in promoting this report. But it's more than a report. On the 24th of September, our Prime Minister will be attending the launch of the Year of Action, which commences after the launch of this report. And this is putting the words of this report into practice, into action. So Prime Minister Mitchell will be addressing an international audience. He'll be one of just 6 speakers, calling for greater action, outlining the challenges that Grenada, other Caribbean islands face, and what we require of the international community. Some of the other speakers will include Bill Gates himself, Chancellor Merkel of Germany, Prime Minister Rutte of the Netherlands, and other world leaders. So again, our Prime Minister will be demonstrating his leadership, not just at a regional level, but at an international level, in advocating for greater support and greater attention to climate change. That meeting on the 24th will be on the fringes of, again, another important international meeting. This is the United Nations Secretary General's Climate Action Summit and Climate Action Week. Again, bringing global attention to the need for greater ambition and greater support. So that commences on the 21st of September, runs for a week. Grenada's delegation will be led by Prime Minister Mitchell, myself, Leon Charles, Dr. Spencer, to major assets that Grenada has on the international stage. These are world-class negotiators, both Leon and Spencer, representing Grenada, representing the Caribbean, in pushing our climate agenda. Together with a youth representative, part of the summit will be a youth conference. Again, how do we energize our young men and women in this battle against climate change? And part of the agenda on the 23rd, the highlight of the summit, there will be an allocation for small island developing states to speak. And what we have done as a collective through the Association of Small Island States is come up with and develop what we've called a SIDS package. So it's recognizing that our voice as a collective, looking at solutions that are not only pertinent to us at a national level, but collectively can be rolled out to all small island developing states, would have much greater impact and again interest from the international community in gaining support. And Grenada's contribution to that is the presentation of our climate smart cities concept. So showing how it can be operationalized at a local level here in Grenada, but also how it can be replicated to all small island developing states and to bring scale to that discussion. So I will end there, but I hope I've given you a flavor of Grenada's engagement on the international stage, from our Prime Minister through to other representatives within the ministry and Grenada's team, and how we're at the forefront of advocating for greater support, greater resources, and greater action in our battle against climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Steele, for that very comprehensive update on what has been happening in that particular space. It's a particularly important and relevant subject, and we do hope that the attention paid to it actually increases, and like during that year of action, that we actually get to see a more concerted effort at bringing awareness and positive action to the subject of climate change adaptation and climate resilience. So with that, I would now invite members of the media to pose your questions to the Minister. As per usual, please identify yourself and your media house before asking your question. Online viewers, there's also an opportunity for you to partake in the discussion. You can ask your questions on the GIS Facebook Live, which is currently streaming.
Good morning. My name is Linda Schraker. I'm a freelance journalist. I have a number of questions for the Minister, starting from what he introduced us by, and as we walk down to what you would have said. I should be stopped if I was asked to pass that. My first question has to do with the boat that you mentioned and calling on persons to seek the services. Are you in a position to tell us from the time it started? Today is day 3, I think. How much persons have seeked that services? And then on Sunday, that's the first question. On Sunday, the hospital was gifted with 8 bottles of, 8 cylinders of oxygen from the boat, because the boat do produce its own oxygen. What was added to that is that the plant at the hospital seems to have not been functioning. Are you in a position to tell us how long it has not been functioning, why it has not been functioning, and if the repairs that has done has been successful and it is back in operation? That's my first questions.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So first of all, in terms of number of persons seen, so from Sunday, 280 patients were seen at the stadium, 210 were seen at the second site at the Trade Center. Yesterday, 275 were seen at the stadium, and 100 seen at the Trade Center. We've seen, I think there's been some logistical challenges at the Trade Center, which is why we've seen the numbers lower there. But we are anticipating, as the week progresses, we will see more and more patients attending. The capacity that they have to see patients is, it's in the thousands over this period. So, their ability to see and treat patients is quite considerable. Regarding the oxygen cylinders, I can't tell you how long it's been down or the current status. What I can say is that US technicians who are part of this mission have been working with our staff at the hospital to address some of the technical issues with our oxygen plant. So we're hoping that by the end of the mission, we will have made some progress there.
Linda, if you have a climate change related one, I'll just allow you to ask one and then you give your fellow colleagues an opportunity. And then if we have time, we come back to you. And my office is always open to facilitating requests if there are any concerns or questions that do not get addressed during the post-cabinet press briefing.
Again, my question had to do with recently we approved the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Act. Can you tell us when would this act go into effect, and what are some of the differences it will bring for we as a people, especially those who are on coastal zone area as residents?
Okay, thank you. Well, the act, it was passed in Parliament. I believe it's already been gazetted, so it comes into effect. What we now need to do is it's the implementation of that. But what is significant about the approach that's been taken with this act is the fact that it is integrated, it is cross-cutting, it takes a whole of government approach, recognizing that the coastal zone area speaks to every sector from tourism, agriculture, the environment, energy, community housing, physical planning, fisheries. So it takes a whole of government approach. It's looked at existing legislation and how that can be better synchronized, consolidated. There are specific focal points. There's the establishment of a National Ocean Governance Committee that will be providing oversight and advice. And that governance committee, again, is very, very cross-cutting, a very broad number of stakeholders involved in that will be providing advice to the minister, providing advice to cabinet in terms of the actions that need to be taken. So we believe that through the successful implementation of this act, and it's going to take time, the implications of it are far-reaching, and the resources that are required are considerable. So it will be introduced in a phased way, but we believe it will bring greater governance, greater management of our marine and coastal resources.
Christina John, GBN. My question, Minister, to you is, you said of Grenada presenting the Climate Smart City to that international meeting that we're about to be a part of. We now see in recent time that sargassum has been flowing into places like the Carriacou, which is the area that we're looking to most so say present. Are there any mechanisms in place, or what steps are being taken as to perhaps curb this as a tourist attraction site, and for what you have planned in the future, as well as along the Grand Anse Beach areas?
So that's specific to sargassum, or just our tourism development plans for the Carriacou? Sargassum, okay. Sargassum is a major challenge, not just for us here in Grenada, throughout the Caribbean, and also the southern tip of the United States and Mexico. It's a major problem, and it's one that isn't going away. It's the volume of sargassum that we are seeing floating down is increasing, and the duration for that influx is also extending. So we are all challenged. We're all trying to find solutions. Grenada, we have developed an action plan for the management. It's management. We cannot stop the sargassum from coming. It is just using the resources that we have to best effect to minimize the negative impacts. And whether that is from a health perspective, the rot in sargassum causes noxious fumes, very unpleasant. So ensuring that that those areas where there is a buildup, that we manage that as best we can. Also from a tourism perspective, fisheries perspective, and economic perspective, ensuring that those areas that are worst impacted, that are commercially sensitive, are also addressed. And one of the elements of that action plan is going beyond just the removal of the sargassum as it comes on shore, but looking at solutions that could keep the sargassum as far offshore as possible, and hoping that those tides, the currents, will take the sargassum away. So whether it is through the use of booms, barriers, nets, in order to do that. So research work is being done, working with other regional institutions, whether it's University of the West Indies, whether it's looking at what other islands, other countries are doing in this regard. Also, machines that can more effectively collect the sargassum. So work is being done there. But of course, we need financial resources to do that. Last year, we spent in excess of $1.4 million in sargassum clear-up. This year, it's similar numbers. So we need to look at some of the more proactive things that we can do, and investing in the technology to manage this as best we can.
Anything happening, say, within a soon time in terms of addressing it? Because you said discussions are going on?
No, action has been taken already. I mean, it's been from last year. So we have teams, we have environmental wardens who are working in some of the most sensitive areas. So using manpower, womanpower to address it is the most environmentally sensitive way. We have used heavy equipment where the volume is so great that it's unmanageable to be handled manually. But that there is an environmental impact. It degrades the beach. So we have to use manpower as much as possible to manage, and we have teams working up and down the country on that already. In terms of equipment, we have an environmental workboat, which is dedicated to a project to manage the reeds at Grenada. But the suppliers of that equipment were here in Grenada a couple of weeks ago, looking at how it could be used potentially in limited circumstances offshore for sargassum management. So we've been looking at that, but we're looking at other solutions, and we're also working with the private sector, who are also mobilizing to find solutions. So how government can work with the private sector to come up with mechanized solutions to address this.
Sherry and Noel, GIS. Senator, I have two questions for you. First, I wanted to get a little extra information on the climate smart city. I know you mentioned all the different areas and facets and so. In recent months, there was this activity on the Carriacou, and a lot has been said. In terms of physically seeing what's going to be happening, how soon can we say, well, in terms of the Carriacou with the wall, we know this rising sea levels and all of this. So how soon can we see actual start or implementation of any aspects of what was presented?
Okay, it is a long-term process. So we're not going to see activities overnight. What is taking place right now, the development of the concept note, so it's still pre-feasibility. And in order to access the financial resources that are available, it's a very onerous process and long process. So take, for example, the G-Cruise project, valued at $125 million, a transformative project. It's taken us 4 years to get to the point where boots are on the ground. So it's unfortunate that is outside of our control. However, climate change is not waiting for us, and the international institutions are aware of this and are finding ways of speeding the process up. But what we're not waiting to do is, we're not doing things in series. We're trying to do activities in parallel. We already identified one component from that pre-feasibility stage, and we've taken it straight to proposal, which is the GLEAP project. So this is the energy efficiency, renewable energy project. So this speaks to greenhouse gas emission reductions, but it also speaks to government revenue, because if we're able to make significant savings on our public electricity bills, whether it's our public buildings, whether it is our street lights, those many millions of dollars that we spend, or tens of millions of dollars we spend on those bills every year, we can divert to other productive areas. So that is an element, one of the 9 concepts that we pulled out immediately as a quick win. That may still take a year or 18 months to materialize, but it's a much shorter time frame. The conversations that we had in Korea a couple of weeks ago at the most senior levels is also looking at how we can accelerate this project. So it's not looking at it as a project by project basis, but looking at it as a program, and working together with us, working together with the likes of the World Bank, the IMF, other international partners, as to how we can put a facility in place that makes this all a reality. It's not just talk. It is the availability of the financial resources that's going to make this happen. It's not just having goodwill and good plans, it's getting the money. And the GCF is willing to engage with us and other partners to see how we can put a financing package. And we're talking somewhere in the region of $350 million US for this over a number of years. So Grenada is finding the shortest possible path, although albeit a long path, but the shortest possible path to get those resources so that we can actually see action, whether it's in Grand Anse, whether it's in Grenville, whether it's on the Carénage. But we want to see action. There is urgency behind this. And all of these international meetings that the Prime Minister is representing Grenada on is all about advocating for the urgency of this and the need for that support. So Grenada is doing all that we can, and we have been successful. We're the largest recipient of Green Climate Fund resources, that $184 million that's been approved to date. So as long as it's taken, we're actually doing extremely well.
Part 2 is a question, and you mentioned about the GLEAP project. You mentioned 40 buildings. Has it been decided upon as to which are the buildings that are going to be used already?
Yeah, so those buildings have been identified. So whether it's the ministerial complex, the obvious one, the financial complex, schools, hospitals, it's just looking at all of the real estate that we have that has roof space, that can accommodate a solar panel, that the necessary battery equipment, technical equipment that accompanies that can be accommodated. So it's looked at, yes, it's looked at all government buildings and those that are most suitable.
Morning, Senator Callistra Faria. Mike, 2 questions. One, we do have anti-litter laws in the country which are not being enforced. Any plans on creating a situation where government does have people out there enforcing the anti-litter laws? We have a situation of blocked drains and waterways, and so because of indiscriminate dumping. My second question is, how does the Montrouge playing field fit into a lot of the developmental projects that are being discussed and planned? What are the plans for Montrouge, and has any action been taken as it regards a Montrouge playing field?
Yeah, your first question about the Litter Abatement Act is a very good question. We are undergoing the process of banning a number of plastics, styrofoam, etc., which we see as the spearhead for that reduction in litter. What we are also doing is linking that to the litter abatement law. So work is taking place to combine the two. It's taken us longer than we would like, but work has started as to how we enact that litter abatement law. Part of the on-the-ground activities will be the deployment of litter wardens. And we are speaking to the Royal Grenada Police Force to work with the traffic wardens. We will or may well have to make changes to the legislation, but how we can expand their mandate to also include that role as litter wardens. They are well positioned to be able to report on littering offences. So we see that as an important starting point, but we need to accelerate this work. Your second question regarding Montrouge, I can't speak in detail about it. I am aware, though, of an active project, I believe with the Germans, with GIZ, that has looked at working with the private sector, looking at a number of interventions, how to improve drainage in that area. We know how drainage prone it is, but the work that New York University has been doing in the Grand Anse area, looking at how we can protect Grand Anse from sea level rise, is also looking at flooding, because the Montrouge is part of our watershed, water table. So you have the slopes surrounding that area, and heavy rainfall, water runs down and settles in that area. So they've also been looking at that. But in terms of specific prescriptions, I can't speak to that, but work is ongoing in terms of identifying solutions for it.
As it relates to the Montrouge playing field, that piece of real estate, is it featured in any planned projects? Is anything happening with it other than what it's being used for right now?
Are you talking about in terms of development, if the physical development, or addressing the flooding issue?
Well, the flooding issue as well, because that is a troublesome area for us because of its location and what has happened before. But I'm also asking a follow-up question as it relates now specifically to that piece of real estate that is the playing field.
So I can't speak to your second question. There are no plans that I'm aware of. But with regard to flooding and protecting that area, as I said, GIZ are looking at it, NYU are looking at it. I believe there may be some other programs that have been looking at it. We recognize it as a problem, and we need to find a solution for it.
I think we have time for just one more question. Ms. Stricker, you had some other queries?
My question had to do with the Litter Abatement Act as well. Well, you addressed something that I wanted to ask about it. But there is, to the best of my knowledge, there is a section in it that has a major flaw. I think I had drawn it to some people's attention. So I wanted to know if that was already looked at. And then the second one I had to do, last year we did announce the banning of styrofoam importation. I know that sometime afterwards, one of the groups that is lobbying for that had there were a list of items that can and should not be imported. Are you in a position to tell us what has been happening in our port of entry, and if there has been application from any company to import specific type of plastic materials that there are doubts about here?
I'm unaware of the flaw in the act, so we can speak to that afterwards. But if there are gaps or errors, then certainly we would seek to address those. Regarding the banning of styrofoam products, we know that customs have had challenges with some of the definitions of some of the products that are being brought in. And that's expected. So we are working with customs. We are looking at how we can improve definitions, bring greater clarity to what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. We've had instances of packaging coming in which claims to be biodegradable styrofoam. There is no such thing as biodegradable styrofoam. So there are producers out there internationally who are, some are misrepresenting certain products, which is causing confusion with our importers. So it's an ongoing process as we identify those loopholes, we identify those ambiguities in product descriptions, and we firm up on some of those definitions. So that's an ongoing process. Our intention and the intention of all stakeholders, the response from our stakeholders has been very positive. They understand why we're doing what we're doing, and they're working very well and very closely with government in the implementation of these bans. And we recognize it's in everyone's interest to close as many of these loopholes as possible and make sure that the products that are coming in are as environmentally friendly as possible, and also they are as cheap as possible. Cost is another consideration, and they are not a risk to human health. And we are all on the same page there. So it's a work in progress.
Just for clarity, the single-use plastic bag, when it's the single-use plastic bag, when it's supposed to be totally effective? I know we had a sort of phase period. When it's going to be totally banned, which would require like supermarkets and so to no longer offer that.
Yes, so the complete ban is February 2020. So again, we're working with retailers, with importers in preparing for that. But it's important to state that the private sector, the retailers and the importers have a major role to play in terms of sourcing alternatives, making sure that they are available in sufficient volume at a price point that isn't prohibitive for consumers, and that they publicize and gear up for this as early as possible. And we are already seeing retailers gearing up for this.
Thank you very much, Minister Steele. Any questions that were not addressed during the course of this press briefing or any other ministers are largely accessible. It is government's policy to be open and accommodating. The Office of the Press Secretary can also facilitate any request you may have of ministers. So please feel free to use those options for any questions that you did not get addressed here this morning or on any post-cabinet press briefing. I just want to thank you very much, Minister. Very thorough update on what's happening in the climate change space. And of course, as we close, to encourage Grenadians to make use of the opportunity of the health services being afforded by the presence of the U.S. naval ship Comfort, which is here until the end of the week. Thank you, members of the media, for being here. To the listeners and the viewing public, thank you so much for joining us. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. See you next time.
Grenada's economy is heading for its 7th year of consistent growth, averaging over 5%. Unemployment was reduced by 20%, while debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 108% to 63.5%. NNP committed to the economic and social development of our people. NNP delivering on the promise.
Hope rides on the rays of the sun here. So too does the resilience of the people. But in the battle against climate change, will hope and resilience be enough when the lives of those who contribute the least feel the brunt of its effects?
For us here in the Caribbean, climate change and its devastating impacts are our new normal.
Hope is still the strongest currency in these parts. But a devaluation of life can come if the world sells the people short. With the realities of modern times, forever no longer has the same currency it had a generation ago.
Rolling on the way through my journey. I got a triple OG sitting right beside me. This old man, he played four, he playing knick-knack on my door. Raises of white noise, light up the world. Here we go, and I follow the sun, 'cause it's bright on the other side of my window.
In Grenada, like in many places in the Caribbean, there are continuing concerns about rising temperatures and the increasing frequency of storms.
In growing up as a young girl on the Carriacou, the changes, I always tell them the major change started with Hurricane Janet, September. September is a very terrible month for Grenada with hurricanes. Price of progress is always very high. And to me, the whole environmental problem in the Caribbean and in particular in Grenada come with the price of progress.
The country was devastated, almost complete devastation in some villages. First of all, every village in Dominica, every street, every cranny, every person in Dominica was impacted by the hurricane.
I know myself from since this is why growing up, come here. Boys come and enjoy yourself at the beach, and bathe and eat and drink and enjoy yourself and have fun. The river never used to meet much with the sea, but I know the water get rough. The climate got changing.
People here have created their own way of life, overcoming great challenges over the centuries. They are at one with nature, and nature is at one with them.
There are farmers who have irrigation systems. There are farmers who are close to rivers, but there are also farmers who depend solely on rainwater, or rainwater harvesting to grow their plants. And I can tell you over the last year or so, and a lot of farmers have not been able to reach their targets in terms of production.
They followed the sun and the moon and the stars to maintain their livelihoods. Their culture has evolved dependent on the environment, their lives intertwined with its well-being.
We have no choice as a region but to pursue climate-smart development. Building the region's resilience to climate change, natural hazards, and environmental changes is not only a necessary and urgent development imperative, but is also
Good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique once again. It is time for Hard Talk, 8 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And this is Hard Talk, and we're coming to you live on 97.5 City Sound FM,
89.5 CRFM,
92.9 on the Sister Isles of Carriacou,
and 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, it is a beautiful rainy Tuesday on the Isle of Spice.
Much
we
needed
thank
rain.
the Almighty for the rains. Yes, indeed. We had to flood once the dams are filled.
Well,
that's the main thing.
I was on my way down this morning, and when I reached in Bolio coming down, and I see the rage of the river, I see problems in River Road. And I could tell you, right, about an hour or so ago, the water was basically just perhaps about 2 feet underneath the bridge by steel.
Just a again for it.
Just a it's right on the. So if the rain continues like that, we can expect, some.
Oh boy, you say that, and as soon as you say that now, I see the video. Right, yeah, so it did overflow.
It did overflow by now, okay, because
it did overflow, Devon, so.
Because when you have the river from Bolio, Lamode, and then Tempe combining together, and they reach around by Decor, that's it.
Yeah,
with that rage, they just.
I must send the video over for technical man. You pull it up and show the people what going on in the road there. Yeah, it's a technical man.
Definitely.
I'll send a video over there for you, so you can see what's going on in River Road. We can show the people. Yes, so it does seem as though it's broken the bank there, and Tantine is flooded as well. Yeah, Tantine is flooded. River Road seems to be flooded. And most likely one or two other areas. Yeah, so folks, just remember, wherever you are, take it easy on the roads. Yeah. Drive with additional care and attention. Yeah, be additionally cautious. You're supposed to be cautious and drive with attention and everything all the time, but we're saying drive with additional care. All right? Nice, beautiful. Yeah, because you know what does happen. So yeah, so folks, be careful on the road. And we're going to pull the video up in a while for those of you on the live so that you can see exactly what we are referring to. Yeah. All right, we just finished the post-cab briefing. Yeah, the Honorable Simon Steele, he was up this morning speaking about climate change and so on. But before he did that, reminding folks, hey, head on out to the boat.
Yes, head on out.
Well, not to the boat. You're going to the two sites, and if you need to go to the boat, you're going to go to the boat.
Yes, the Kirani James.
Devon, I found out something yesterday, I have a relative that works on that boat.
Wow. So
yeah, she's in the U.S. Navy. She's been in the U.S. Navy for over 10 years, but she is not on this visit. She did the Haiti. When they went to Haiti, she went to Haiti with the boat, and they Puerto Rico and one or two others. But she just come back from vacation, so she's in the U.S., and the boat is down here. She'll be rejoining the boat soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so a Grenadian from Springs.
And
a Grenadian from Springs. And we have a kayak man that works on the boat as well. So
So that's good. And I really want to continue to appeal to persons out there with medical conditions. Go to the different sites. The Queen's Park and the stadium, Kirani James Stadium, and the Trade Center. Go look after yourself. Don't let those non-doctors or non-medical practitioners tell you what to do when it comes to your health. Mm. You make that decision, right, and go. Seek out medical attention and make that choice.
Yeah. And folks, remember, it's free. You can head on out to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, or you can head to the Grenada Trade Center, and I assume down that side kind of flood too.
Yes,
but you could head to either one or the other.
But it will be much easier in the Kirani side though, because they have the car park, and so may not have much flood. So it might be much easier. I was
actually referring to the Trade Center down there.
Oh, the Trade Center, yeah.
No one's rains out of all.
That's the rise.
Yeah, but we needed the rain, and oh my goodness, the place was a little too hot for what I'm talking about. It was a little over too hot. I didn't hear anybody saying that that's the right temperature. It was way past. Yeah, it was over too hot. Yeah. So I know a lot of folks there are glad now. Yeah, they have it up there now. Nice, yeah.
Wow.
To see what is going on
Wow.
in River Road. Yeah, so the usual.
Wow.
The usual. Yeah, the usual. So yeah, River Road flooded again. So
River
folks,
flooded.
please find alternate routes to get to where you're going. Try to avoid the River Road area. All right, try to find an alternate route to where it is you've got to go. All right, nice. If you could avoid having to pass in River Road, avoid. All right.
Yep. If you have to go to St. George's and you think River Road might be a hassle, you have Sanssouci. You make that detour and go up right on the left of Decal, or you go up over Maras Hill, or so, or even to over to Mount Rush and come over. You know, so you have options. Definitely have options. And if you come in from over the Granite Tang, right, and you don't want to take the chance and you head into the western side, either St. John, St. Mark's, just go through Boucherville.
Well, yeah.
Simple.
Well, although over the weekend something happened in the Grenville Vale area. Some smart aleck decided it was nice to go and take the grill off of all them. They steal the grills over the different areas there. Yeah, they take the grills and go with them. So it actually had people that couldn't come out from certain areas because the grill was gone.
The grill was gone.
Yeah,
so
they
just
take
a
them
big-
the metal grill. They take it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
probably go
it's-
in and sell it as scrap iron.
So it has to be when you look at it, and we're not stupid. Somebody with a transport, all right, and it has to be more than one person. But I hope that the law enforcement officials investigate, and whoever they're fine with interfering with government things. Hey, they have to stand the consequences. I mean, come on, you still do things like that.
Devon, we're still in a place where some people find it smart to break those glass, the glass that they put up every now and
Yeah,
again
the-
so you could
the
see the
mirrors,
mirrors
yeah.
and so on. Although in most instances, we have to admit, it's not big hardback people doing it. Children.
No, children.
that
A lot
do
of
it
them,
and so.
yeah.
But we have to teach them not to do these sort of things.
Of course, the use of it. You see, that's why they do. When it comes to certain things in our country, PR and educating our people, especially our young ones, about the importance of these things and what you can and what you cannot do and the consequences for it. There are so many things that we take for granted, and it costs the government so much money to replace. All right, and there are things that, because you have to spend money every year to replace it, and so it becomes a burden, and money could have been used to go somewhere else, within the economy. But you have to continue to repair because of our negligence, carelessness, irresponsibility, everything that you could think about.
And
we need to do
Devon,
better than
the rain is down heavily
Heavy.
again. Yeah,
Heavy.
the rain is down
Thank
heavily
God for that.
again.
Yes.
Yeah, so believe me, it's rough out there, man. It's rough.
Yesterday we was talking about less avocado. Well, it's more avocado.
Yeah,
now.
right now it's more
It's more
avocado.
avocado now.
It still doesn't mean that we should abuse the water. And the thing
Oh,
is,
no.
folks, remember that the heavy rains now can impact NOWASA's ability to provide water to you still.
Yes, time.
It does not mean that because we're having all of this rainfall that we're in the clear and that you're going to get water. Because, remember, we said it yesterday, too little water is a problem, but too much is also a problem.
More bigger problem.
And if they're getting too much water into the system, like it's silting and so on, so you have all the soil and bits and of trees and so on going up, and it blocks up
We have
the dam.
blockage.
They
Yeah.
have to send a team to physically go and clear that before they can start pump. Okay, you can't pump the water if the thing block up. Outside of that, remember the pipelines and so that run. If there's any land slippage and it breaks those pipes, then
Repairs.
they have to go and repair them. So it does look like we'll have continue having some rain for the remainder of the day. It seems so. Probably
Much-
have to get a report from the Met Service.
Much needed rain. I know I came knowing about this one. I heard a lady say, she was like, I have a big peace tree in my yard. And he started drying up. But because of the heat, I mean, the heat remind me of 2 weeks after Ivan. Yeah, that 2-week period after Ivan in 2004. That was one of the dreadest heat I've ever experienced. You know?
So, folks, remember, and you can call in. As we said, we had a post-cabinet press briefing, and interestingly enough, speaking about climate change and many of the things that have been achieved thus far, and some of the funding. We just had a conference being held here in Grenada, and also some of the funding that's available, 5 million US one way and a couple million otherwise, and so specifically geared towards dealing with climate change issues. You see, Grenada being a small island developing state, we are the ones that pay the price for climate change. We're the ones that pay the price for climate change. When the water level rises, we are the ones that'll feel the effect first of all. We'll be losing bits and pieces of our island. For instance, where our beaches are right now, you may lose them. You may lose some of our beaches. We may lose some of our beaches and so on. Because when the water level rises, it rises close to the...
Right to the shore.
Yeah. Low-lying areas are susceptible. There are islands...
I know of Telescope in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, the water is right there.
The thing is, Devon, I'm wondering if it's a fact that we're having increasing ferocity of hurricanes. Because there have been hurricanes to these levels before. I'm speaking in the 40s, in the 30s, and before the 1800s. There have been hurricanes. They probably didn't have the equipment to measure them in the way that they're measuring them now. So I'm wondering if that is a direct due to climate change or that's just hurricanes being hurricanes.
Yeah, but it's possible. And so because way back in the 30s and 20s and so, as you say, we would not have known the strength of these hurricanes, and even the damage most of them would have created would have been more to the natural habitats like the trees and everything like that. There would not have been much buildings and everything like that to to measure the destruction. And so yes, it is a good question. You asked, Sheldon, and it's
Yeah, indeed. Let's say good morning to those of you on the live. Good morning to you, Olive. Hannah, no, I didn't get to wash down the car. And it's a good thing I didn't wash down the car because you see what's going on? I had a well plan. And she's also asking if we got to go to the medical site.
No, I did not.
I didn't get to go. I'm planning to do it today. I didn't get the chance to go yesterday because I had one or two other things that I needed to take care of, so I wasn't able to go yesterday, but I'm hoping to go today. And hey, Tati, good morning to you, and make sure that you pass on our greetings to Mommy and Daddy as well. Yes, indeed. So, folks, the phone number 440-7377. I think we have a caller online.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, Camille.
Morning to Mr. Sheldon Scott and Mr. Devon Romain.
How you doing, my dear?
Well, I didn't have a lot of pain this morning, boy. That cold in that foot.
The rain.
Plenty pain. Okay. Anyhow, it's raining a lot. Thank God for the rain, eh?
Yeah.
Because the past few weeks we had it sun, all the cocoa had selling all melt under here with the heat.
Wow.
So, and I know some of the farmers, they're in the garden right now taking water on the back. Anyhow, I want to say good morning to Grenadians all over the world. Morning, Tanti Yvette. Carriacou, all the people in Carriacou, good morning. Special good morning to Mr. Watts and his wife, and Mr. Depodine and his wife and his son, Katian Cox, that is in Brooklyn, New York, Miss Yolan Smith, the ambassador for Grenada. Special good morning to you too, and Keisha. Anyhow, all the Grenadians, home and abroad, good morning. Yeah, it's raining a lot, flooding in town here.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was going to the park Sheldon. But I had to hold back because of the rain. So much water.
Okay.
You know? And you have people that call in my house and just saying things and just putting down and saying that our call and tell people go in the park. And, I only sorry, Mr. Scott, that surgeon, that doctor, I took a picture with Simon Television last night, didn't bring me on the boat to do some plastic surgery on my foot. But as they explained to me, my case is not a bad case to bring me on the boat. I'm only sorry I didn't get to go this, but they patched me up.
Yeah.
And we have the opportunity as Grenadians there, Mr. Scott. We have the opportunity to get free medical treatment here in Grenada. A lot of us, we so double standard. Well, we want to go to America, you will pay our money to go to Barbados to get a visa, and then you end up going in America, and you want to go to King County and get free treatment there. You see how we double standard? And everybody, some sitting down here yesterday and saying they don't trust the people, but they trust to go in King County. You understand? You're getting it free in Grenada.
And it's the same doctors that when they finish work in the military, they go in private. And it's the same doctors that when they finish work in the military, they go in private practice.
I could hardly hear you, but I know I suppose you're hearing me.
Yeah.
The people, they don't go and look for a visa to go in Haiti or to go in El Salvador. They're going in America. There they want to go. They're going to make the children of these. And they have all things to say about the doctors. We should be more grateful for that. When the doctors tell you have to go and get that thing on the carnage where Empire is there, they come here, they sit them waiting for the bus, and they want all that money. We all getting money. We're getting it free on the books. I listened to the news last night and even this morning on GBN with Brenda. The doctor, the man in charge, was explaining to the Grenadian people how much surgeries and things and countries they're going. You have a Rasta man come from St. Lucia and he get and the media and telling people don't go. And after they leave Grenada, they're going to St. Lucia. Who gives him the authority to tell people don't go? Eh? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand these people. Grenadians, we have to stop this thing and grab every opportunity we get. And thank God, there is some countries that would love if that Navy boat could have come to see about them. Certain parts in Africa, they need doctors there. And you have some people here that telling you don't go, but they're in the stadium. I see them there. I see people that could afford to go to a private doctor in the stadium, Sheldon. We have to stop this kind of thing in the world today and show a little more love to the people. Them people and here West Indian people on the boats that is nurses. They're from the different parts of the country. They have people, Grenadians, that they're in the navies. America, one of the Navy boats, they're all over the world. Think about people. They have to stop that. So if they don't want to see the doctors yet, don't go in Barbados in the embassy to get no visa to go in America. Donald Trump listening all you know. People listening all you. So when they turn all you down, don't say Trump bad. The U.S. people listening because the whole world listen to us. The whole world does listen to us. So we have to be careful what we say. Anyhow, I've been planting Grenadians one, and Mr. Scott allow me, please, sir, for a little free yard. I have some bra, nice bra. People with big boobs, they could pass and see if they want, come and purchase. Somebody give me some to help themselves. Have a blessed day, sir.
All right.
And continue doing your good work. I'm watching all you on the phone. And Devon?
Yes, Gabby.
Yes, and you take it easy.
I will.
Yeah, I wanted to go today to see what my eye, because my eye just scratch me. So I suppose they might go short today. So tomorrow, busy, Lord.
All right, my dear.
You understand?
Yes.
Have a blessed day. And I want to say hello to Coco. That's the pharmacist in the terminal and in the stadium. And to Dr. Karen and the rest of doctors. I cannot pronounce the last name because he cannot phony. But all of them, the surgeon and the people who speak, I want to say good morning and enjoy Grenada W.I. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's the Cami.
and Cami always make it clear, especially with this instance with the health where persons could get free medical attention. She has been there And she's continued to encourage persons to go there and seek the assistance.
But the bottom line is this, if you need it, you have the option to go. If you don't want to go, no one can force you.
Can't.
Yeah? If you believe what is being said on one side is true, or you believe what is said on the other side is true, that's up to you. But for you to be openly trying to discourage others from going, I don't think that's a nice thing.
It's not a nice thing.
I don't think that's a nice thing. I really don't think that's a nice thing.
Yeah,
And the thing
it's
is,
a disgusting thing to do.
the one that's bad, especially bad, is for those individuals who are encouraging people not to go but going themselves.
Yeah.
So you're telling people, don't go, because this, that, the other, and all these sort of things, saying to them, don't go, but then you're first in the line. You understand? It's
selfishness.
Yeah, we have a call on the line.
Good morning and welcome.
Sheldon,
Hey,
sorry to call back. I have a bottle of coconut oil for a lady in New Hampshire, right in Willis. She told make me all right, and the man just bring the coconut oil. She's a regular call on your program. If she's listening, they know who it is. Send for the coconut oil today.
Okay.
The man from Victoria just dropped it. Yeah, she saw that with all right, and the man just bring it down.
Okay.
He used to go to GBSS. You know who he is.
Okay.
And the mom always call. She always call your program. So if you're listening, let's tell him to come and pick it up.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
All right. I know she get the message.
Yeah,
I know
she
what you're
get-
talking
she
about.
get the message already.
And I know she get the message.
And
man.
smiling too. Good morning to
Nazir, go bring it up on.
Good morning to the nation's busmen and conductors. And so
Yeah.
hope you
Especially those given trouble down by Cami.
yeah.
Folks, 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, now we're hearing thunder. Yeah, so that means must be lightning out there too.
There has to be lightning out there.
Yeah, so quite a bit of rain, as we said. For
Yeah,
those
but
of you
we-
not on island, quite a bit of rain. Although I'm
rejoicing.
hearing though, that we are rain in Grenada, rain up in the other islands, but Carriacou, it just passing. it
Carriacou supposed to be getting some today, man.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I hope Carriacou gets
I
some.
really hope so.
I hope
mean,
Carriacou
the
gets
farmers crying out in Carriacou. They're not even thinking about even taking a cutlass and juke the ground. Yeah, they're crying out, and the Lord have a way of blessing us with so many things, and reasons for not. And so, but hey, God is good always. And so, and to those persons out there in St. David's and even to the south who have been on valve regulation, hopefully, if the rain continues as it is, Nawasa will be able to let off much more water for you, to have your regular supply. All right, so we just have to keep our fingers crossed. And so they are on the ball doing excellent work as usual, providing clean, safe drinking water to the population of Grenada.
Yeah,
We must always
and
remember that.
Devon, I'm seeing a message here from Grenlick. I'll go to that in a short while.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Sheldon and Devon.
Good morning, sir.
That is why you see when some people give them a chance to them make up their mind to do something if they want to do it. Tell them let me do this or let me do that. Give them a chance to pick up. That is the same thing that happened in the revolution, Them force people to go up in the fort, and that's how some of them get killed up in the fort. Give somebody a time to make up what they do what they want. You understand?
All
Take
right.
care. Have a nice day, bro.
All right, my brother.
And we have another caller on the line.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you,
Morning.
my friend. And welcome.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen, for all the information you all have been given to us in the diaspora. Some of my family, if they're listening, they will know my voice. I'm not going to say my name. I know some of them went, and some of them are going to go. Even though we disagree on politics, I hope they will go.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I used to be in the United States Army, and I knew the quality of the service. I graduated from the academy in Texas, San Antonio, Texas. So I'm telling and I'm trying to encourage all my Grenadians, please go and get the first-class treatment you can get for free. Gentlemen, have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, my
Thank you.
friend, and you're most welcome.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, and we have loads of Grenadians who are ex-U.S. military. Loads upon loads of Grenadians who are ex-U.S. military, and they can tell you the quality. And these are people who, if you're going to the U.S. right now and you're going for medical treatment, more than likely, in a lot of instances, the doctors that you're seeing are ex-military, people who spend their time in the army and so on, and they are now in private practice. We have a caller.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome. It's Matt.
Good morning to you. Good morning, Devon, and good morning, Mr. Scott. How are you?
Quite fine.
Fine.
Mr. Scott, you're so right. The rain just passing in Carriacou. I'm waiting for it, and we're not getting it.
So it got up the road?
A little bit. Yeah, but it's not stopping. It's just passing and go. Right now it's overcast, but nothing in my way.
Oh,
and
boy.
I welcome in the water.
Okay.
But I heard Grenada is flooding.
Well, apparently the video that we saw, they're saying it's an old video now. It's not the video of River Road right now.
It's in River Road, yeah.
Yeah, but folks should still approach that area with caution. We all know when you have significant amounts of rain, what happens in River Road. All of us knows that. Tantine definitely has flooded.
Yeah, Tamsi.
And we know one or two other areas have. Aye?
Send me a 2 barrel of in Carriacou. Put it on the boat now.
We're gonna do that.
God bless you.
All right.
To my cousin Jerry. Good morning. Take care.
All right, Miss Ma, take care.
Hey, Devon, in all of this, though, I want to take a moment before it slips me to say a very, very, how do you put it? To give our condolences to an avid listener of Hard Talk, Stephen Phillip. He's a member of the RGPF.
Okay.
On the passing of his wife, she used to listen to Hard Talk every single day. I would like to offer our condolences to him, his family, on the passing of his wife. Yeah. Boss, I can't say I know how it feels. Believe me, there's no way I know. You alone know what you're going through. And it's difficult.
And based on experience and seeing other persons, we know how difficult it is to cope. But God is good. You have persons around you who are strong, would give you that strength. You can lean on their shoulder. And you got the Hard Talk family who's always there, to ensure that things go as smoothly as possible. So again, condolences from the Hard Talk family. And we hope that, that you will just take it easy, okay?
Okay, well, this one is a live video I'm seeing there, and that is, it looks as flooding in Montrouge, yeah. So there seems to be some flooding. But you know the areas that generally flood when you have rain like this. It's been constant rain, huh? It's been constant rain. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning, my
good morning.
friend. Could you speak a little louder, please?
Okay, good morning, and how are you?
Good morning and welcome.
Okay, I just at the stadium there and just take out 2 teeth a while ago, and the people is very, very nice.
Wonderful.
Okay, wonderful, man.
Wonderful, my friend.
Yeah, it is very nice, and you have a lot of people there, and I'm sitting right here now with my boss watching a lot of people coming and going.
Right. So what would you say to persons out there who have two minds, whether to go or not to go? Hello?
Oh, it seems as though he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
All right, but so he went and he got sorted out.
And he got 2 of his tooth extracted. Wow.
Yeah, we have a caller.
Service. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, my friend.
How is everything? Yeah, but I want to thank God for the rain. Thank God for the rain, because God said that He will never give us more than we could carry. Thank you for the rain. And Brother Sheldon, I want to encourage the people of Grenada from Pitmatic to go out and get free health care. Because the same people that try to discourage people not to go, they step going. And Brother Devon and shall I say something? You see that what we always say. Yes, some people, they just don't like people. what they like for the good that they like for themselves, they like for others. You try to discourage people and tell people not to go. But you're going for yourself. Right? What you want for yourself, you don't want for others. So I want to the Grenadian, don't take nothing from what people say. You get the person who say not tell you not to go, they're going for themselves. So you want to, your pain is yours, you carry your burden, so you know what you're going through. You get free, you don't have the money to do it, free health care, go and take it. So I want to encourage the people of St. John Northwest and people throughout the Great Caribbean people, go and get health care. Health care is important. So Brother Devon, Sheldon, you have a wonderful God bless you.
Okay,
right,
my
thank
friend,
you.
have a wonderful day.
Yes, indeed. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call.
347-329-3101.
Yes, so folks, if you can, the opportunity is there. If you can't make it today, try tomorrow. If you can't make it tomorrow, you've got a Thursday and Friday. So try to make it at least on one of the days. Even if it's just to get your dental done, if you need to have an extraction or cleaning or filling.
Or your eye check.
So on, yeah.
You know?
Because
Make
some
use of
people,
it.
the opportunity is there, you don't do it, and the boat leaves on Friday. Well, after it finishes on Friday, they wrap up and then they're out. And then to take you Saturday and you start to ball and say, boy, if I go. To take you and you start to ball. Yeah, no, go and sort it out now. If you have to have something taken out, get it taken out. You're getting your medication, and so if you need to get medication, you can get that.
Yeah.
It is up to you. Some of the people who are saying what they're saying may genuinely think that what they're hearing is true, and they may think that they're saving people's lives by telling them don't go. Right? They may think that that's what they're doing. But there are others who's saying it to people and then going in front.
Yeah. You see?
They're going in front, and we always have that sort of thing, huh?
Yeah. Because they were able to verify and know the good. But when persons continue to tell you not to, don't do that, I think you as an individual should stop and think for yourself, verify, seek information, and make that decision for yourself, right? And so some persons may be telling you don't go, as Sheldon say, for good intentions, but other persons, they do it for selfish reasons, right? Just because they don't want you, right, to take that opportunity to be healthy. I mean, I call these persons selfish and persons who have no love at all for the fellow, men and women. That's, it's disgusting.
Yeah, and but Devon, what else is up, man? Outside of the rain and the ship being here, and so, what else do we have taking place, man?
Well, the development and so economically continues in our country. From a tourism point of view, from an infrastructure, point of view, we see the Kuwaiti sponsored project up at the
St.
north.
Patrick?
Yes, St. Patrick has begun, and so. And there are other major projects that has been going on for the last couple of months, Sheldon, that Grenadians need to know about, right? Because what it will do, right, to the forward movement of our country. And so we need to know about it in another sense, in that preparing our children, right, our people to take up these jobs, training the persons to pick up these jobs when they come around. We don't want to be complacent, sit down, wait, and see things going on, don't inquire, and when they want persons to work, and you apply and you're not qualified, you say, oh, if I had known, I would have prepared. Seek, right, and start preparing, especially you young people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, 440-7377.
And 347-329-3101.
Yeah, we've got to speak to Miss Duncan to see who we have on the schedule for this week to be in with us tomorrow. Thursday, as usual, we expect Stan to be in with us, and I'm not sure who we may have on Friday.
Please,
to be in studio with us. But it's also coming up to the end of the year, so therefore we're also looking forward to budget. Yeah,
because the budget consultation already started.
Budget is coming up, and you have the budget consultations. You have the sustainable development meetings taking place. I've lost my listing, so I'm not sure which one is taking place today. I think it's supposed to be St. Mark today, if I remember correctly, at the St. Mark Secondary School from 7. I believe that's where it is taking place today. St. Mark Secondary School from 7 p.m. So those of you in St. Mark who have the opportunity. I hope the weather eases up by then so that you can head on out to that meeting. Very important, because the people of St. Mark, your voice must be heard in relation to national development. And you must give your input as the people of St. Mark as to what ought to be there, what needs to be there, what should be there for and by the people of St. Mark. So you need to turn out to that one.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Also, to a reminder, a continuous reminder that we are in hurricane season, right? And we don't want to spare no effort in informing people to be prepared. You need to be prepared, right? Have your hurricane plan for your home and do what is necessary, your supply of water and everything like that. Be prepared. Follow the guidelines of NAGMA. Okay, most important. And just an announcement to persons in Southwest Constituency, St. Andrews, Honorable Yolan Bain constituency, and so that there will be a very important meeting of the NAGMA coordinating team, okay, of that constituency on Monday, the 23rd of September. That's next Monday. We're asking all persons who are interested in volunteering their time and their service and so the technical expertise to be part of that meeting, right, to share, and let's continue to prepare for the hurricane seasons. The shelters are out, and so we need to train persons for the shelters, and so we need communication persons, we need persons responsible to manage, and so we need persons within that constituency to come out on Monday and be part of that important meeting, please.
Yes, indeed. And folks, remember the phone number 440-7377, especially if you have a question in relation to getting onto the boat and so on, you can give us a call.
Yes.
Or you don't even have to call us, just go. Just go to the Grenada Trade Center. Just go to. They close off at 3 o'clock, so you should try to reach there before 1.
Yeah, by 1.
Yeah, that's for the latest. Try and reach by 1 because they close off at 3.
At 3.
So it's not like you can go in at 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock and get
They're closing off at that time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Hannah is asking, Sheila, and that she's not hearing much about the St. Patrick's Breakwater project. And so the continued.
No, she's not hearing any complaining about it.
Oh, complaining.
Yeah, she's not.
Oh,
she's not
my
hearing
bad,
persons
Hannah.
complaining. Yeah, you forget that word.
Yes.
Yeah, but the Breakwater project is there.
Is there?
So quite a bit taking place in the north of the island.
You know, that Breakwater project has brought in room or even things for other activities within St. Patrick, especially the Sotters area. Right, and so it start bringing in much more people into the town itself to enjoy the scenery, to go and enjoy the beach, which was about to be disappear, and so on. The
beach, you mean Luton?
Yeah,
It was about to disappear.
When you look before behind some of these buildings and so from around Kenny Lal Singh where they go down, you telling yourself, boy, sooner or later the sea is gonna come and take those buildings away. You understand? But no, when you look at it, you can see the progress, and so on. Thank God that we have persons who can plan.
Devon, I'm also seeing another discussion popping up online. I think it was in the news as well. People speaking about conductors having to have a conductor's license.
That's not new.
As far as I know, conductors had to have conductor's license earlier. No, ever since the buses used to be over in the market square.
Yes, that's not new. I was a conductor in the 80s.
A lot of people seem to be
know
shocked that conductors have to have a conductor's license.
That's not new. Perhaps the traffic department has not been continuously reminding, right, those owners of bus and operators of bus that their conductors need to have their license, and so just a matter of public relations. But from way back, I know that conductors are supposed to have license, right, to operate.
I knew that.
And a proper dress code also.
Because you have a lot of guys that get charged because they didn't have the conductor's license.
Exactly.
A lot of guys get charged for that before. Or I saw someone making a posting on social media as well, that as a passenger, if you're found to be playing the role of a conductor and you don't have a conductor's license, you could be charged.
You could be charged. And the driver can be charged also.
Yeah.
You know, and
There are
so
a lot of things in law that people
we don't
that
pay
they're there
attention
and they have been there for a long
for a long
time,
time, yeah.
but some people are not aware that it's there. Yeah.
You know what I'm seeing as we're talking about the buses and the conductors? I've seen the rise of underage young boys conducting on buses during school time, right? And even perhaps on vacation. When I say underage,
You're sure on the age?
yep, I'm definitely sure on the age.
Okay.
Under 16. I mean, you're supposed to be in school, not on the bus. And a lot of buses are practicing that, and that's not good. All right? That's a serious problem.
Not the over the hills buses though.
No. Not the over
Them
buses.
fellas are them
and so.
serious.
Yeah, they're
In fact, I
serious.
don't think most of them have conductors.
They
anyway.
don't. All right? They don't have any conductors.
But it's happening in different areas. So.
Yes, and I can...
I haven't taken I stopped taking the bus these days. So you know.
Yeah, you're talking about Granans, you're talking about the St. Paul's, you're talking about the Bolio, these routes, and so, all right? These are the routes that are mandated for conductors, right? You must have conductors because of the short drop and so.
Must.
Right?
I thought that was changed. I don't think. Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you want to make money, right, it would be wise for you to have a conductor plying, for example, Granans and the St. Paul's and the Bolio routes.
It helps with the hustle.
Exactly, and so and not just that. Passengers are beginning to get tired of having to do the work of a conductor. I'm taking a bus with going my day. You don't expect me to be pulling a bus door opening and close 4 and 5 times before I reach where I'm going. That is unfair to passengers. And sometimes when you tell the driver that, they get more mad than you. You know, some passengers will tell them, look, come out and from driving and come and open the door for yourself. You know, so I think they need to look into that. And I'm not saying that you have to employ a conductor where you don't need one, right? But it's important that you have one where it's necessary and they have the necessary requirements to be on your bus. They have to dress properly. And another problem again is the whole question of the hygiene of some of the conductors, right? A lot of them, they dress cordially, they look good and everything, and there are those who you do not want to sit close by. I'm sorry, I have to say it, but that's a reality.
I find you moving dread this morning.
No, it is a reality, and it's about time, right, that we take pride, right, in conducting a service to our people. Don't take our people for granted and give them any service. Give them the best. They are paying their money. Give them the best service that you can provide. All right? I'm not bashing you guys. I'm just trying to ensure that better service is being provided to the Grenadian public and visitors alike.
Okay. Well, Devon, you're a person that uses the facility, so
every day.
You know what you're going through.
Every day.
I can't say anything. Imagine I seen a report on CNN. They have to tell Americans don't kiss chickens.
Don't kiss chickens?
Live chickens, yeah. Don't kiss live chickens.
But who does that, anyway?
The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, would like for everyone to please refrain from kissing their chickens and from snuggling them and from eating with them and from inviting them into their homes. Health officials have been investigating several multi-state outbreaks of salmonella linked to contact with backyard poultry.
Link to backyard. They're not talking about countries like Grenada and these places.
No. In the United
States, yeah.
Yeah. Some people have been kissing their chickens.
Caucasian people, without getting to
let me just say, because we ain't know who it is. It could be anybody.
Yeah,
we ain't know the color.
Yeah,
so let me leave that part alone.
But
we ain't know that for sure.
They have some strange practices that persons do.
So please, those of you listening in the United States, please do not kiss your chickens.
And not just the chickens there. I just want to expand that. I see persons out there in in the United States, North America, and so the way how they treat their pets, their dogs and their cats, and so. And,
watch it when you come to dogs.
It's amazing the length and the distance people will go, right? I mean, you see persons basically kissing those animals, right? And these type of things, and you find those animals outside, they mouth all over the I don't know.
They've only the people and the chickens alone.
God help us.
You want to kiss the chickens.
Yeah.
They didn't say don't eat them. They say don't eat with them. So you can't have your chicken on the table and you eat it, and your chicken eaten on the table and don't eat.
Well, that I would agree. I would agree. Don't eat chicken with the chicken. So, but that's that's a warning that if they put it out, they have their, definitely medical reasons and so.
Yeah.
And we must take heed of it. And so, you have a light moment and so, but you won't find that in Grenada where you have persons kissing chickens.
What I would like to, because I'm seeing some reports of flooding in Grenville, and just before we end up finding out that information is wrong, because what has been happening these days, and we got caught with it this morning too.
Yeah.
What has been happening these days is people, when things like this happen, start circulating old information.
Yeah.
And when they circulate the old information, it comes out as though it is new information. Let's see if we have a call online.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon, and good morning, Sheldon and Mr. Scott.
Good morning, farmer man.
I'm calling from New Hampshire, specifically close to the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we had a problem up here, which I reported on several times, whereby we have a bridge, a small bridge, just behind the preschool, which I complained several times. What happened? The Ministry of Work came and did the retaining wall. But they did nothing to the bridge. And Mr. Scott, right now, if we the family didn't, the Primus family didn't do anything towards that bridge, it would have gone today. The water is covered the bridge, because the reason why, the volume of the water is so heavy, and the intake, the culvert is 18 inches wide.
Oh.
And they built two retaining walls, 3 feet by 3 feet in width and length and width and height. So the volume of water now towards that bridge is coming over the bridge. So it's making it impossible for anyone to pass, Mr. Scott.
So it created another problem.
Because they said it was coming up to do the bridge. It's a bridge that I reported several times. I mean, the authority knows about it. And whatsoever. There are so many things to be done on that piece of road. So we're having a problem right now with the water now, Mr. Scott. Vehicle, nobody can go out until the water subsides. So I don't know if one day they will come to rescue us here in New Hampshire, right behind the playing field, the Primus Family Road. Thank you, sir.
All right, my friend.
Thanks for that information.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I want to appeal, if anyone out there in St. Andrews, Grenville in particular, give us a call. Let us know the situation.
If indeed Grenville has flooded. And so, because it's important that we let folks know different areas, because maybe you're looking to head there and you end up stuck. You end up here.
Unnecessarily so. You know? And I would love to know, because I'm heading to St. Andrews in a few. And usually when you hear when it's flooding around St. Andrews, Grenville in particular, you think about Budge Grove and you think about the Balthazar Bridge.
Yeah.
The detour, you either have to go to St. James or you have to go to Bylands to get, So it's necessary. Anyone with any information as to where any flooding is taking place, give us an update, before the program is over.
And Devon, quite a bit earlier, I was going to read a bit of information from Grenlec.
Yes,
and I'm just remembering, but I ain't calling that load shedding, eh? Right, I ain't saying that. That's a different thing. What happening here is that, according to Grenlec, they have planned outages between the 15th of September and the 21st of September. So today, there is an outage in Pearls, St. Andrew, between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. So nobody in Pearls who ain't listening via battery radio and cell phone and thing could hear us.
Okay.
The only thing they might be able to hear us on is that, yeah? Right. So between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. for those of you in Pearls, tomorrow, Wednesday the 18th, Mountrich and Craigston in Carriacou. So in Mountrich, St. Patrick, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., there'll be no electricity in Mountrich, St. Patrick, and Craigston, Carriacou, between 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. today and tomorrow. Well, not today and tomorrow. Tomorrow and Thursday. So tomorrow and Thursday, Craigston and Carriacou, due to work that's going to be taking place to upgrade the lines and maintenance and so on, you will not have electricity between 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. On Thursday as well, Quarry Road in Carriacou, the same thing, but you're just between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. This Friday, for those of you in Corinth and St. David, between 10 a.m. and 12 noon, there'll be no electricity as they're doing some upgrade on the lines there. For those of you in St. John, in particular Dougalston, no electricity between 8:45 a.m. and 12 noon. And back to St. David, those of you in Mango Hole, between 8:30 a.m. and 12 noon. So that's for those of you in the St. Andrew. No, there's nothing. Yeah, St. Andrew today, in Pearls, Mount Rich, St. Patrick, and Craigston, Carriacou tomorrow. Thursday, Craigston, Carriacou, and Quarry Road in Carriacou. And Friday, Corinth and Mango Hole in St. David and Dougalston in St. John. All right, just to let you know of those planned outages by Grenlec. Due to these planned outages are part of our continuous upgrade and maintenance program to ensure continued safe and reliable electricity supply throughout our Tri-Island state. All right? Yeah, so that's just some information there for you from Grenlec. Folks, that's all the time we have for today. Yeah, it's been wonderful as usual being here with you on Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And we are out of here in everything you do and say. Do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
We are out.
Peace.
A number of Grenadians undergo cataract removal on board U.S. hospital ship. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Monday, September 16th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. A number of Grenadians have successfully undergone cataract removal on board the USNS Comfort Naval Hospital ship. The ship, which boasts of 61 civil mariners, 259 naval support staff, and 956 naval medical staff, has begun its tour of the Eastern Caribbean after stops in Central and South America and the wider Caribbean. One of those who sought care on board the ship is Mr. Joseph Granger of Mount Craven, St. Patrick. He had a successful cataract removal following surgery performed by ophthalmologist Major Didier Escobar.
Primary cause of cataracts is the age. Mostly, if you have a patient over 70 years, probably 70% of the patient are going to have any grade of cataract. There are another causes, just like metabolic, for example, patients with diabetes, they usually can have cataract. It's another type of cataract that is called posterior cataract, but most likely it's because of the age.
The procedure lasted 25 minutes, following which Mr. Granger spoke with the GIS from his recovery room, saying he was pleased with the process.
I related the process to when Christ healed the blind man. And he took the spittle from the earth and he put the spittle in it and he rubbed it in the blind man's ear. And I said that God has given wisdom to man, not to be as quick and as fast, but as probably as good. He was as the first medical surgeon. I asked for quick reflexes, calm hands, and so on for the surgeons. And I think everything was done beautifully.
GIS also paid a visit to the Grenada Trade Center, one of the two sites where medical teams are set up, and spoke with Lieutenant Jack Davies, a dentist with the United States Navy. His dental team comprises qualified dentists from the United States Navy, Army, Public Health Service, and U.S. civilian dentists.
And we provide routine cleanings, fillings, and extractions for the patients here. So they'll show up here in our waiting area, and then we do a brief dental exam to determine what type of treatment they need. Today we've seen about 55 patients. I'm not sure if that's going to be our total number, but I was doing the dental exams on the patients this morning, and that's how many we brought back.
Well, Grenadians from all walks of life are taking advantage of free medical services offered on board the U.S. hospital ship, the USNS Comfort, which has a full spectrum of surgical and medical services. Services are being provided on board the ship and at 2 designated sites at the Grenada Trade Center and the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. An official opening ceremony was held at the Welcome Center on Sunday. Details in this report by Chrisanne Mitchell.
The expansive list of services offered on board the ship include trauma surgery, plastic surgery, ultrasound, women's health, hernia repair, and radiological services. The benefits of the ship's visit to Grenada is one that Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says will be felt for a very long time. He commended the U.S. government for the level of assistance being given to the country's health sector and appealed to Grenadians not to fall for the utterance of detractors, given the assurance that he also would have taken advantage of the services offered had he not already done his annual medical. Dr. Mitchell used the opportunity to speak about the importance of educating the nation on maintaining healthy lifestyles, since so many are becoming victims to the effects of non-communicable diseases.
We are spending an enormous amount in attempting to improve the healthcare. But it seems the one area we may not be making enough impact is the educational aspect. The necessity for one to take responsibility for his health. Every day I confronted up to this morning with the passing of a young Grenadian professional. Obviously, clearly a heart problem, but clearly has its roots in several factors long before. Question of blood pressure checks. The machines are available now. We don't have to go to a medical station to check our blood pressure. The machines are as good as what you see at a doctor's office. So we can check them twice a day if we wish, as I do. The whole question of diabetes, the less use of sugar and salt, the necessity for physical exercise, all these things are so crucial.
The 100-foot USNS Comfort boasts of a casualty reception, main lab plus satellite lab, morgue, oxygen-producing plants, and dental services, among others. The ship stop in Grenada marks the beginning of tour through the Eastern Caribbean after 6 stops in South and Central America and the Caribbean. U.S. Ambassador Linda Talia-Taylor says their presence here reflects the strength of bilateral relationships and commitment to Grenada and the region.
The partnership between our government reflects our enduring promise to one another for the cooperative, prosperous, and secure hemisphere. It demonstrates that democratic governments respond to the needs of their people. They work together not only for the benefits of their own citizens, but of their neighbors as well. We have been eagerly anticipating this week, and we are excited to share this moment with the people of Grenada.
The ambassador says thousands receive medical care on their previous trips, and she is hoping that thousands in Grenada will also take advantage of the services which will be offered until Friday. For the National Report, I am Chrisanne Mitchell.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on, people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me, no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Continuing the news, Grenada and other OECS countries are moving to rectify what is described as a major implementation deficit regarding competition policy and law. A one-day workshop was held at the Radisson Beach Resort on Monday to start a 3-year strategy which will focus on the sub-region in this regard. During the 47th Quartet meeting in Guyana last year, member states requested permission to approach the Carriacou Competition Commission directly for a request for technical assistance, and this year Antigua and Barbuda requested technical assistance for the sub-region in the area of competition and consumer law and policy. Justice Christopher Blackman, chairman of the Carriacou Competition Commission, says despite their best efforts, the sub-region still does not have a cohesive policy and legal framework for competition and consumer laws, and as such there is no institutional framework in place for this. This essentially means that sector regulators and government bodies address competition matters in an ad hoc manner.
The Commission also notes that the CARICOM region as a whole is still to agree on a harmonized platform for merger control policy and legislation, with the result that the regional and national jurisdictions are left without the necessary tools for merger and acquisition assessments. This notwithstanding, it is critical that national and regional competition authorities be adequately equipped to ensure that economic transactions do not distort competition or result in negative outcomes for consumers, such as increased prices of goods or services, reduce innovation or quality.
The Honourable Oliver Joseph, Minister for Trade, Industry, Cooperatives and CARICOM Affairs and a former trade officer, wants the workshop to serve as the impetus for establishing their own OECS Competition Commission.
The concept of operating in a free market economy, and on the other hand, ensuring that you protect consumers will always be a challenge. Because you want to regulate, but how far can you regulate? And then in the case of Grenada, we have a natural monopoly. Because of the size of the country, you do not need more than 2 power generating plants, because all the power we generate adds up to 30 megawatts. So if you have 2, you would not be efficient. So we have to know, in the presence of a monopoly, then how do you regulate?
The workshop, which was facilitated by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, was funded by the CARICOM Secretariat. Despite the many challenges Grenada's health sector faces, it can also boast of some significant strides. That's according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. George Mitchell. Speaking at the welcoming ceremony for the U.S. hospital ship on Sunday, Dr. Mitchell said the health sector is making strides that all can be proud of.
Despite these challenges, the Ministry of Health has had several success stories, in the latest of them being the designation of our hospital to be baby-friendly, the second hospital in the region to be able to have achieved this distinction. And for that, we do need a round of applause. We only come after Barbados in that respect.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
If you think safety rules are a pain, try having an accident. Drive safely. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.